Howdy, everyone. Welcome. Tellor Dev Call, August 21st. Fun stuff this week. So, just did a deep dive. Progma Oracle, super cool ZK stuff coming out tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow. Internet crapped out like halfway, so I'm actually gonna have to edit this video. So depending on how long that takes, tomorrow or the next day. But yeah, and then we launched on
Base.
So we are base testnets currently. So we will be on base mainnet
And Manta.
this week probably, and then Manta network. That I think they're only testnet at the moment. So 2 new testnets for users. Both of those were requested by different people. You can go see those in our docs and yeah, get using them.
We just got a request for Mantle.
Mantle network. Yeah, it's cool seeing new chains. By the way, I like base. Base is cool. Their Coinbase's chain. We timed ourselves and we did it faster on Manta network. So shout out to Manta network for great job. Both of them took like an hour or two.
Manta is the testnet for a chain called Caldera, I think, right?
No, it's just Manta.
Yeah.
It says
They have an
Caldera
out.
chain.
Well, I know that they have a layer 1, and then they have a roll up called Manta Pacific. And that's the one we went to.
Dude, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, if you're on Manta, you know what we're talking about. So,
You're in the wrong ocean,
they're super
man.
cool.
When I go to their documentation, it says Caldera.
I've never even seen this documentation.
But I feel like this is like Filecoin. You have like hyperspace and calibration, and everybody names them different things.
Yep.
It's like, anyway. Cool. Tim, how's things?
Good. First, we had some people inquiring about the RNG, and that got me thinking about potentially changing the spec for that, changing how we so like right now we use the Bitcoin and Ethereum block hashes, hash those together to get our random number, our pseudo random number. But I was wondering if maybe we could just switch to only using Ethereum, because ever since Ethereum moved to proof of stake, that the block hash is generated in a different way. Like, so now they use like RANDAO. I don't know if that's what they've finalized on, but like that's like probably a better random number generator than our old block hash, than the old block hash method. So I was thinking that might be a potential improvement in that we could at least go faster, because right now we're rate limited by the block time on Bitcoin. So that if that's a potential improvement on that RNG. I mean, it would basically just let us go faster.
But couldn't you use can you can't access the current block hash in a block, can you? In Solidity?
Not the current one, no. You can only get the last one, the most previous. But I think that value might be valuable to go put on other chains.
Well, I think the problem would be like if you were theoretically the validator for like 3 blocks in a row, could you fuck with it? Probably.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe a little more research on how they actually generate it would be in order. But I think the random number is generated by an input of like all the validators or a large number of the validators.
Okay. Yeah, I would just wonder if you could mess with it, or like at what threshold you would be able to predict it before it's on chain. Would be the problem. If you knew what it was going to be, then you could see how something was going to play out, like, and so you could change. But then if you change your action, it would change the block hash. It's like it could be
right.
Weird inception.
And
yeah.
An adjacent thought, as you're saying this, it's getting me thinking of, in what situation would you actually just want to create a new RNG data spec so that users have a choice based off of like maybe they don't, maybe the rate limit doesn't bother them. And so a slowly generated random number has a certain set of assumptions they're comfortable with. And giving users options, having multiple RNG types that are created in a completely different way.
Yeah, that would be reasonable too.
Tellor RNG too.
Yeah.
Start
Yeah,
up.
okay. I like that. Yeah. That's probably more appropriate. And then we're not forcing a change in our original spec. But yeah, just something I thought of this morning as we heard about
Cool.
the RNG. And then otherwise, I'm doing some research.
Cool. Gonna ask you something, but anyway, cool. Ryan, how's stuff? Do we get the data specs front end up?
Not yet. Had it up on Friday, but there were a couple bugs. I fixed one. I'm gonna tackle the last one. Should have it up today or tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Akram?
Mostly working on research, but there was a couple of issues last week for Tellor. Probably gonna merge them today. I don't see any breaking. Nothing breaks. All the tests run. So
Cool. All right, now on to Spuddy. Anything?
Oh man, I was working on getting the new chains added to Tellor.
Oh, cool.
And,
I saw we had some disputes on the Diva stuff, or
yes. Yeah.
would you like to explain?
Sure. Diva protocol is the customizable decentralized derivatives platform on Polygon that uses Tellor for settlement. The first pool ended over the weekend. It was about betting on the gas price. So what happened is somebody, it was me, submitted the data for like what the gas price was, and there was two numbers there. So I got that. Actually, I didn't do it right the first time, so I disputed myself. It's really not that, exciting.
Okay. There you go. Heard the story from the man himself.
I did it wrong the first time. The reason it had to be disputed is because Diva will use the first report because that's the person that gets the tip in their system.
Mm-hmm.
So since the first report was wrong, it had to be disputed so that Diva would use the second value for that query ID.
They couldn't just opt in, even if they knew that one was bad. There was no way for them to just choose another one that had to be removed.
But Diva's good with their gas pools, settled well.
I think so.
Yeah, nice.
Did you have to call set final reference value or do anything on their side, or did
I think he did.
he did that?
Vlad was gonna do it.
Okay.
It was kind of like I had my computer out at the moment where he was asking questions, and I was like, I'm just gonna submit it. So
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, and then I didn't know, sorry.
Well, last thing on that is if there's a Diva pool that settles on a spot price value, our software will handle that automatically. This is because it was like a custom pool that needed a custom value submission.
Yeah. And on that, I was thinking maybe like you and Ryan or somebody, like we should post in the reporters channel just what are the opportunities currently out there, because I think we're up on quite a few different networks posting prices. Some of them have tips, some of them don't. But like if you guys are reporters and want to see where you should go, what prices you guys should go support, what networks it might behoove you to go on.
Yeah.
We should definitely get you guys over there. So
like another thing that could have, like another way it could have happened is Vlad could have sent a message in the public Discord and be like, hey, can someone report this query ID, this value, this query data for me?
But you gotta know what's going on.
But yeah, you gotta be staked and like ready to do it for sure.
So yeah. So hopefully we can get some more reporters over there. But cool. Ryan, any questions?
Yes, we did have a couple. One was Chewy was asking, does Ampleforth tip for the price?
Not usually, no. We can just push it on for them. They're cool.
That's a value that updates once a day.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So
we've told them though, don't get used to it. We don't make any promises. They know how.
Yeah.
Next one is the query descriptor equal to query parameters? What is the ABI type, and what is the difference between a packed or not response when encoded into bytes? Does this process create the query data?
Yeah, the query descriptor is basically just a JSON representation of a query. And so that's just useful in Tellor and in Python for representing one specific query with the query type name and whatever arguments. And so that's just kind of a standard way of passing some data around. But the descriptor is not used on chain or by Solidity or anything like that. That the information in the descriptor can then be taken and converted into bytes, and that's what's used in Solidity. And then what else is there? As far as packed versus not packed, that's just different ways of representing some bytes data. And when it's packed, you take off some extra data, but you lose a little bit of information. But yeah, we tend to recommend not packed because then you can more easily decode that data back into its original data type. But yeah, it is very important to get that packed or not packed right. Because yeah, users or whoever contracts consuming your data just won't be able to decode it correctly if it's not packed or unpacked correctly. Was there something else in there that I missed?
Is this the process that creates the query data?
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah, it's relevant. These are all just different ways of representing the query data and specifying it, or a query itself. And then the query data is the way of representing the query on chain.
Yeah, what Tim's describing is the process for landing on a query data and a query ID that the user of the Tellor Oracle is going to integrate into their smart contracts, and then the reporters start reporting it. And after that, it kind of stays the same, forever, unless for some reason the user wants to change it, which hasn't happened yet.
There's a great blog on our blog called an in-depth guide to query types. So go check that out. It was from a few weeks ago.
Cool.
It is great.
Anything else?
Well, that was a good question. That was from Mayumos. Just shout out there. And then last one, another one from Mayumos. Are there tips, in parentheses, Tellor improvement proposals?
Ooh. No, I mean, we used to have these when we had governance in our system and thought we could upgrade. Now we're kind of immutable. I mean, there's still things we could upgrade, like the front end or other pieces, but not. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it was kind of like the governance forum in a lot of other projects where not a whole lot of people are there participating in the governance forums. So it was like a pain in the ass to sort of keep up. So
yeah,
you just don't, Discord sort of works. And if Discord gets really crowded discussing these things, then we can start a forum. That's kind of how it works. But yeah, but unusual, we'll write like an article or something if we make any big decisions. But if you have any ideas, just throw them up in the Discord. Love to talk about them. So cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming on. Yeah, catch you later.